All right, everyone, we're back. The league tried to shut us down, but we're not going to let them.
That's it, man. That's it. Well, they're going to take out Adam, though.
Adam is in and out. He's trying to get audio issues fixed. He's apparently doing an impersonation of me with technology. So, as I said, I feel like the goal should have counted. I have more of an extended rant about the way that it was included in the broadcast, but it's not the sort of game or the sort of thing that you can play under protest that you're definitely going to be able to get overturned with the league. Capizzucci did make contact.
Yeah.
And so it's bad luck. It's funny how it always seems to happen to Chattanooga. And it is what it is. And then we go later in the game. So, Jeff, 89th minute, penalty occurs. What did you see on the penalty? What do you think about the end of the game there as Tucson takes the lead finally?
Yeah, I believe that was Jorge's yellow card, wasn't it? And
that was.
And I have no question that there was a foul, but it did not look like it occurred in the penalty area. It was really close, and it feels like I don't know. There was a spatial adjustment. And again, I'm a Red Wolves fanboy, so I'm very biased. But
yeah. You know how you can know that it was definitely a penalty is because the announcers didn't once bring up the fact that it started where it started. Like, they didn't talk about it at all. They ignored it, which we all know if the announcers are ignoring something it's probably because it goes against or goes for the Red Wolves, not against them. And that's the only time they'll ignore that. He didn't talk about it once, which says to me he knew what it was. He knew the rule, and he didn't want to call out the rest for once again screwing over the Red Wolves.
Which is its own problem that I'm very irritated that the league does so much to protect these remarkably incompetent referees. So I agree with you, Jeff. I've watched the replay on TV. I think you definitely see that Luna gets his foot in, his boot hits the back of the guy's leg. It's a definite foul. I think you could argue that it was inside the box and not outside the box. Camera angles, especially in the League One broadcasts, are not perfect.
But it's where the foul starts, not where it ends, right?
Still, I don't think it should have been, but I'm telling you, I can see the argument. And camera angles, like I said, are not always the best. But he got it right and he got it wrong, because if Jorge Luna does not trip the Tucson player, he is in on his own, one-on-one on goal. And so, honestly, if Jorge Luna fouled him while he was in a clear path to the goal, whether he's in the box or out of the box, that should have been a red card on Jorge Luna for denying a goal-scoring opportunity. So the referee even got it wrong against the Red Wolves.
Well, no, if he's getting a penalty, doesn't he get a yellow card if they give a penalty shot?
Of course, it's been a couple years since I went through the class, but denying a goal-scoring opportunity is a straight red, from my understanding.
Yeah, not anymore. Not if a penalty is they don't do double jeopardy, so they don't give him a penalty and the red card. If it occurs without a penalty occurring, it is a red card. So if he had called it correctly, Luna would have been kicked out for a red card. Since he called it wrong, he gets a yellow card.
So I don't know. In the long run, maybe it works out better for us, because I would rather have Luna than have us not have one of our center backs as we go to Greenville. Still very frustrating. And this brings up our Alex's airing of grievances segment. So I rewatched this game against Tucson. Now, as we go through these matches, as the Red Wolves travel and we watch broadcasts of the Red Wolves away games, Jeff, Adam, how do you normally hear the announcers? How do they normally do the broadcasts? Are they broadcasts for the away team, or are they broadcasts for the home team?
Oh, they're almost always for the home team, which is weird, because you would think that the home team's there in the stadium, but yeah, it's at most non-Red Wolves matches there is a bent for the home team.
Yeah, and in fact, places like North Carolina, it's literally their specific home there's specific home broadcasters. Like they don't even try to hide it because they do a simulcast.
Or like in Greenville, where they have Ross Davenport call the game from Joe Irwin's rectum.
Right. Well, that's where he lives, so it makes sense. That's where he'd call it from.
That's true. So this game, however,
we just got PG-13 there for a second.
You would have thought this announcer was one of the guys on Tucson's bench. Their second goal, he thought, was the greatest goal since Maradona's Hand of God. He was just so exultant over it. And the same thing as we see with the fouls outside the box. So normally these games are being called for the home team, except for us. Have you ever watched a Red Wolves game where the person was anything besides, at best, a neutral commentator of the absolutely flat, not taking sides Joe Buck variety?
I have a theory on this. So the people that are interested in doing broadcasting of lower league soccer are the same people who buy GoFundMe tickets for CFC. Like they're the same people who buy into the whole the Red Bulls are evil thing, and so you can't get someone who's
hello, just feed us brisket. We could do it. I think we lost Adam.
Yeah, we probably did. I think he's in one of those dead zones. But so this is basically the rant. League One, do better. If you're gonna have neutral broadcasts, do neutral broadcasts. If you're gonna do home broadcasts, then for the love of God, give us a home broadcast. Show replays that show these referees have gotten stuff wrong, because that's the only way they're going to get better, is if they have a little bit of honest feedback that says, ooh, gosh, that was a bad call. I don't even necessarily, when we talk about something like the foul at the penalty that was given up, you don't have to argue that it wasn't a penalty. Adam's going to, that's fine. All you have to do is make a mention. Gosh, there's a little bit of controversy there. It looked like it was near the line. That's all I need. Well, last year in Greenville, we had a blatant handball, of which they never showed a replay of. And Ro Pineda very vehemently arguing because it was a handball in the box. And Ross Davenport chides him like he's throwing a tantrum. There was an obvious reason he was arguing. And if you actually care about doing a good broadcast, you would point it out. Oh, Ro Pineda very upset because this handball call seems to have been missed. You're not taking sides when you say that. That's not hard to do.
There you go. All right, go check your blood sugar, and we'll see how you are with that. I do want to have a comment back about the foul itself. And I was frustrated with Jorge. I love Jorge. He's a great player. I'm glad he's on our team. But I know there's that thing where he has to he knew that could be a penalty. He also knew that could have been a red card. So I also know he needed to stop him because otherwise he was going to score. So it's a tough situation. But I would think last year's Red Wolves would find a way to stop him that wasn't going to get them to a penalty kick on us.
Yeah, I don't have too much to say against Jorge because you can't just let the guy go down Broad Street straight into your keeper's face. I think you've got to try to do something there. I think there's a little bit on Sebastian Capizzucci. I don't want to be too hard on them. I think they've both played really well right now. But I think there's a little bit on Capizzucci. He got beat. The guy, you talked a little bit about defenders running out of gas, and I think he got beat by a player that got around him and got behind, and Jorge Luna had to make a diving challenge. So I don't have too much to criticize with them there in that play. I think they kind of did what they had to do to make sure maybe Carlos saves that penalty. You never know. You got to have, I would take that more than I would take a one-on-one situation for the keeper.
Yeah, it's really difficult to save penalties. So that's not the. There are other ones I thought he could have saved. I'm
Mhm.
not as upset with Carlos with the penalty shot.
He guessed right. It looked like it was very
Yeah.
close to his fingertips. He made the right play on it. So I think that pretty much wraps up our thoughts on Tucson. Let's move on now. We've got an excellent interview with Rafa Minsigan, going to tell us a little bit about how to get quads like him. Going to talk to us a little bit about his time playing at Bryan College and what he expects to see this weekend against Greenville. So you all enjoy.
Do you want me to? Okay, you got it.
Got it. All right. Well, Alex and Adam are here with Red Wolves forward winger Rafa Minsigan. Rafa, thank you so much for taking the time to join us.
Yeah, thank you guys for having me. I hope we have a good time, good conversation, and I hope you guys enjoy it.
Yeah. The first question, I think the one that's on everybody's mind is what's the exercise that we can do to get the quads that you have?
Yeah, I do get that question a lot. And honestly, like I'm not a guy that like squats much or goes out to the gym. Just growing up in Brazil playing academy, I used to do a lot of resistance sprints with a strength conditioning coach there and everything. And that's when I started like seeing the quads and the hemis come along. And I think genetics probably play a part on it too.
Oh, well, that's going to be a problem for me then because the genetics are not looking good.
No, but this, the resistance sprints will get you though. If you do a couple of those, a good band, someone holding you, those get your quads for sure.
Yeah, that would also involve having to work out. We really wanted you to tell us that there was some sort of like pill that you took. That would have worked a lot better for both of us.
You want the easy way, huh?
You don't become a podcast host without looking for the easy way. I'm just saying.
That's good.
So last Saturday, of course, a disappointing finish. You got your first goal of the season as all the guys were heading off the field. You could kind of tell it was very muted. You guys were really bummed with the result, even though it was, I thought, a really good effort in the game. What was the conversation in the locker room as you guys all got together to kind of break down what had happened?
I think it's really frustrating because we knew how much better we were throughout the whole game, especially the first half. But we never really put the game away, and they just hang in there, and they found like 3 goals kind of nowhere. So we're just really frustrated with also conceding the last minute, just like it happened with Madison. And we're just trying to make sure that those things don't happen again because those are 5 points that we dropped at home, that we were the better side, and that we're gonna miss. Hopefully, we won't need it, but we're gonna miss those points at the end of the season. It's good that it's early on, and it's time to figure out those things so it doesn't happen again.
So Rafa, one of the things that we've noticed is, both Alex and I are season ticket holders. Obviously, if you're doing a podcast on the team, you better be going to the games, right? But one of the big things that we've noticed is how much different the atmosphere is from a fan's perspective. From a player's perspective, how much are you noticing the difference in the stands this year?
Oh, we definitely noticed. I think this against Richmond, yes, but this last game against Tucson was definitely noticeable. Like it was loud. You could see like the stadium. I'm sorry.
That's
The
okay.
stadium was really packed, and that energy like transfers to us on the field. Like that, like I can't tell you how much it helps. Like just the energy, like it helps you. Like when you're tired, you want to run more because like there's people watching and send you energy and cheer you on, and that's a huge thing. And I think that's what helped us. Like in the second half, after we conceded the first goal, push got the second goal, and unfortunately we conceded late in the game, but the energy's been amazing.
So is there anything that you've heard, a fan maybe talking trash to another player? Is there a chant that maybe really gets you going? Anything that when you're playing in the games, do you notice like the specific things like when the teams are saying the goalkeeper looks like Big Bird?
I definitely hear like you guys target a lot of the goalkeepers, and I think it's funny. Like I love like to hear like, of course, like I'm concentrating the game, so I don't hear everything, but I definitely hear like when you guys like talk to the goalkeeper when a sub's coming on, like it's really funny. Like I think it definitely like affects and messes with the heads, no doubt.
we made a point of getting Fitzy from Richmond to turn and give us the thumbs up. All we did was compliment him over and over and over again on his good save. And let's be honest, that game would have been put away a lot earlier if it wasn't for that ridiculous save that he had. What is the thing when you're looking at these goalkeepers? Do you look ahead at like their tendencies as a forward, or do you just kind of take your own game in there?
We definitely watch film on them. Like we try to like figure out like, okay, what is the tendency? How are they with their feet? Do they use the goalie? What like side does he dive better to? Like does he come out a lot? Like those are like things that we definitely look at. And of course, not always you get the chance to like do what you watch on video, or sometimes like they change their tendencies. But it's definitely something that we look at before going to a game.
So you've been named a team of the week twice in a row now, and I think it's your third out of the 4 weeks of the season. Your teammate Mo Espinoza, someone who was signed out of training camp as well, put on there for his assist. With someone like Mo and how he's come in as a trialist, was there a point during camp where some of you guys who were on the team looked at each other and said, "You know what? I think this guy's going to really going to get signed by our team," or was it something that maybe you just weren't sure until they actually offered him the contract?
No, I think we're more like I could see from the first day like he's a different player. Like lefty too, like you can see he's technical. Like of course he was a little bit unfit compared to how he is now coming to training, but you could see that like his quality, the way he hits the ball is just different. Like I really liked more as a player, and he also played with a couple of our teammates, so I think that helped him to be more comfortable and show what he's got, because he definitely did during training and in the friendlies we had, and we're really glad to have him because I think he's gonna be a big part of what we're doing this year.
So you were a newcomer last year, and you had to kind of fight off an injury that happened early in the season. Never really felt like you were, fully ready to give it all you had. And as we watch this year, we can tell you're looking fully fit and giving it all you got out there. What do you think has been different this year, coming in as an experienced player versus last year coming to the team as a newcomer?
I think two things, like, and a lot of people don't see, like sometimes it's hard to adapt. Like you see players in the Premier League that take like 1-2 seasons, like we see now Timo Werner, like took him like almost like a year and a half to really adapt and start like showing what he's got, and
Some people might say he still hasn't.
that's true. And it sometimes it takes a while for players to adapt. For me, I think the biggest thing was the injuries, like not having preseason, then coming back in the middle of summer where like everyone's fit and I'm still like not feeling 100%. That definitely hurts. Like one thing is to be 100% and fit and confident. The other thing is like coming back not confident in your body, not fit, no game rhythm, playing against guys that have been playing for like already like 10 games. I think my first game last season was on the 10th game. So that's definitely like a big difference. And I think this year having like a full preseason, having the friendlies we played, and just getting the minutes, and I think getting my confidence, I'm looking more like the player that I can be.
Is there anything that changed in the offseason that, with your role that Coach Obleda talked to you kind of a different way that he wanted you to approach the game?
No, I think he just told me like to stay healthy. I think he always trusts my game and how important I could be to the team. And also I think like this year he's giving me more freedom to come wide, to take more guys 1v1, and that's helping my game too.
So you, of course, are known because you came and played with the Bryan College Lions for the first couple years of your college career. What are some of your memories? What were you excited about getting to come back to the Chattanooga area and play with the Red Wolves after the time that you had at Bryan College?
I really like the Chattanooga area. Of course, Dayton's just about like 15 minutes to an hour from here. And coming from Brazil, Brian was like my first 2 years in the US, so everything was new to me. But I remember coming to Chattanooga a few times for like dinner or like the Ricketts family or whatever it was, and I thought it was so cool, like just the hiking spots. I went to Rock City one time. They took me Lookout Mountain, like, and I thought I was like, wow, this is a cool city. And when I had the opportunity to sign with Chattanooga, I was like, yes, I definitely want to go back there and live there so I can like enjoy some of those things like the hiking, like the river. I think downtown's so nice and so many like nice things to do in Chattanooga. I really like it.
So, so when you were on Lookout Mountain, you didn't think to yourself, I guess I should have chosen Covenant over Brian?
Sorry, what did you say, Adam?
So when you're on Lookout, you didn't think to yourself, I should have chosen Covenant over Brian?
I mean that campus is really nice, like by the mountain. I thought it was really cool. But I don't think even like when my time at Bright, actually we played Covenant one spring and we beat them, so that was fine.
Ooh, burn.
Ooh, that hurts a little. That
Yeah,
hurts a
Adam's
little.
a Covenant grad. In case you didn't pick
Yeah,
up on that.
No way, I didn't know that.
you can't rip him too much because Sean McDaniel does make decisions about where you're playing. Just saying.
That that is true. No, but it's just a spring game. You guys are in different leagues now. I think the rivalry's gone down. Like I heard, like it was a really big rivalry back in the day.
Yeah, back when this old guy was there, it was definitely a big rivalry. It's definitely not anymore since
Yeah.
they've changed leagues. But
I'll tell you what, though, I'd love to go there because that campus is nice. That's some nice campus.
yeah, I couldn't
So,
afford it now though.
I heard it's expensive, but I mean, like, I passed by, like, because we kids live by there, and the library, that view, I'll just, I'll turn into a nerd. I'll just be on the library, and just because of the view and everything, it just looks amazing.
Yeah, Adam doesn't know anything about the library at Covenant. I can assure you. Um,
That's accurate.
do you have like a favorite coffee shop or spot? I guess we don't want to necessarily give it up and have a bunch of fans mobbing you while you're trying to enjoy some coffee in the morning.
Nah, no worries. I like, so over here downtown, I like Mimug.
Okay.
Good. And I've been going to scooters, because we, of course, we train at CHI, we lift the Y. And there's a place, by the way, called Scooters. It's actually pretty decent too. I like it.
So one of the other things I was looking at your history on Wikipedia, and it mentions that while you were at Bryan, you played in 2 volleyball games for the Bryan College men's volleyball team. Um, so is that something as you were growing up in Brazil playing academy soccer? Were you also multi-sport athlete playing volleyball and other things too?
So that's the thing. I mean, growing up, like in school, I was always like active. Like I always wanted to win. Of course, soccer was what I took serious and train every day and everything. But for racing across the field, I want to win. If we're playing auto even, I want to win. If we're playing volleyball, I want to win. And in Brazil, the biggest sports is soccer, for like the biggest one, it's like a religion, but and then volleyball second. So growing up, we're always like in our PE class, we're always like the teacher would always make us play either like volleyball or handball, because always everyone plays soccer and he had to change it up. So I learned like the basics. And Brian had just got a new volleyball team, and like they were like recruiting people because they really have players. And then one day I was in the gym, like just messing around with my friends, and like the coach saw like that I knew the technique and I knew how to set and everything. Like, why don't you come play with us? And I was like, it was spring. I was like, why not? So went to a few training sessions, went to like 2 games, but it was just like the traveling and everything was just too much.
So I'm going to turn the question back to kind of your history also with more soccer based. You started off in League One with Lansing Ignite. You played in a number of other leagues. How do you compare the talent and what's changed within the league as well as some other leagues that you played in your career?
I think it's got like a lot better and more competitive, like no doubt. I can see like because I also think with some of the MLS teams going to MLS Next, it helped too because like the first year, and nothing against it, like Orlando City B, they just didn't have it figured out. They put like a bunch of 16, 17-year-old kids and they just pretty much like lose every game. And I think now like it's almost like the Premier League to a sense that like there's no easy games. Like we just saw like we played Tucson and it's a hard game. You play Richmond, it's a tough game. Like there's no easy game anymore in the league. And I think that's great because it keeps on your toes like throughout the whole year. And I also think that League One and Championship, I know because I play both, I think the level is really similar. Like you guys saw, like when we went to play Louisville, I think it was like a pretty even match. And we see some of this, all the League One teams beat even MLS teams. So I want to say that like League One and Championship level are like really, really close. I see like, of course, there's some top Championship teams like Phoenix Rising and Louisville that we play. But for the majority of the other teams, I think the level is pretty similar, to be honest.
So moving, you're talking about no easy games coming up at the end of the week. You guys have kind of a shorter week than normal, playing Friday night in Greenville. We don't want to give too much away because I know Coach John Harkes listens to the show pretty regularly. But what's the plan? What are you guys talking about as kind of the key things as you're going into that game on Friday on the tough game on the road against the defending semifinalist?
Tough game on the road, and I think like if you look at the table, you think okay, this is an easy game, no chance. Like Greenville is a very good side. It's my third year only like playing against them, and I don't think I've won a game against Greenville. I tied a few times, a lot of the times, and it's always a battle. It's always like a tactical game, like a game of like little mistakes. Whoever blinks first, the other team scores. So I think our game plan is just, of course, we're going there to win the game, and we're just gonna be like 100% focused. I think we've been hurt the last few games because we play better most of the game, but we blink and we concede goals. And we all know that against Greenville that cannot happen. There has to be a 95-minute performance, and hopefully we'll come back with the 3 points.
So as you're at training and things like that, are there kind of things that you hear Coach Obleda constantly say? Maybe some stuff that kind of you guys look at each other and you crack a smile because it's just kind of funny hearing the coach constantly repeating the same things.
Yeah, I mean, I can't say much of the stuff he says in Spanish because I don't think
It's not
I don't.
appropriate. We'd have to.
It's kind of too early for that. But no, he definitely makes like a lot of points, like over and over and over to us, and I think that's good because he's definitely a guy that keeps on our toes. Like he's intense and he wants like us to be like 100% intensity on every game. And one thing that he mentions to us a lot is like the tactical aspect of like how we need to press and shift together. Like sometimes, of course, you get tired, space start opening up, but every day, like every training session, he reminds us, okay, you guys have to step together, you guys have to stay compact, and that's just the modern game. Like you watch the highest levels in Europe, those guys like are within like 25 yards of like the highest to the lowest line, and that's how they shift together. They play like as a unit, and that's one thing that he definitely makes a point every day, and we've been getting better.
So coach lines all of you up at the end line and says that we've got a race to the half line. Who's the closest coming in second? I know you probably feel like you're going to win that race. Who's coming in second?
It's a tough race to DJ. DJ is pretty fast too. DJ is fast. Mo is fast. We have some really fast guys. I think Ray, now that he's back, he's fast too. Who else?
I'm just excited to hear you say Ray is back too. That's going to be exciting on Friday.
Yes, for sure. But I think DJ, Ray, Mo will be my my biggest adversaries.
Okay, I'm going to put you on the spot. Who finishes last?
Who finished last? Ooh, that's a tough question. Let me think. I think Thor. I think Thor finished last.
Gotta be the keeper, of course.
Yeah. I don't wanna make anyone mad, so give it to
All right, Rafa. Well, this has been fantastic. We really appreciate you taking the time. All of us are going to be watching at the CHI Memorial Stadium. They're going to do the watch party up in the executive club. So we'll be together cheering you on, trying to make as much noise as possible for folks that don't make the trip. But good luck to you this weekend. And again, thanks for taking the time to chat with us.
Yeah, no, I appreciate you guys having me, and I'm looking forward to our next home game against Colorado. I hope it's a sellout again, and we'll be ready.
All right. Huge thanks to Rafa. We'll be looking into those resistance bands, see what we can do to build up those thighs, the quad muscles. So that's an understatement, cheddar cheese. All right. Well, it was Adam's turn to give the book report on Greenville. He is conspicuously absent.
Yeah.
Jeff, you look at the table right now. Greenville sitting 11th out of 11.
Yeah.
With 1 point in 3 games. What do you think about Greenville?
I think the new Doctor Strange movie in the multiverse maybe have come out early because it's an alternate reality that Greenville not only is sitting at the bottom of the league, but they only have, you ready for this? 1 goal the entire season. Now, they've had some clean sheets, which is, there's been some they've had some draws, but a lot of saves by Christensen kept him in it. I think they have is it 1 loss and 2 draws? No, it's only the one draw and 2 losses. Wow. Okay, so it's really wild. Their shots are very low. I think the most shots they've even had by a single player is 4, and there's 4 of them that are tied for that. Chances created, Galavinas is 7, where our Mo has 11, I think. Only 1 assist because, if you only have 1 goal, you only have the 1 assist. So their stats are looking sad, but this is Greenville, though. And Greenville and Chattanooga, kind of like Richmond and us, we feel like we're brothers. And there's never a boring match between us and Greenville. So I am not going to write off Greenville. And I want to say I haven't seen the latest posting, but I think this is another of the scattered and smothered. So we have 4 teams: North Carolina, Greenville, us, and Richmond. Whenever we play each other, well, we get 1 home and 1 away game that counts toward this. And I think this counts. Right now, we're leading in that area. So I don't know. It's I don't want to write Richmond off. I mean Greenville off. But part of me wants to say, is this maybe the best time to face Greenville?
I think it's helpful. We do want to give credit where it's due. They had a 2-0 win against Oakland Roots in the first round of the Open Cup, lost to MLS side Charlotte FC 2-1. Adam will discount it because he'll say that it was Charlotte's B team. But still, they have scored 3 goals in Open Cup play. They've only got the 1 though in 3 games. I think it's kind of early to draw too many conclusions 3 games in the season, but they've had some trouble. They have leaked in the back. They've got a 2-0 loss against Fuego and a 2-0 loss against Tormenta, both of those games at home. So either they're going to come out with a lot of pride and the Red Wolves are going to have to be ready for an absolute dogfight, or you're correct. This is the perfect time to face them. They're trying to get themselves situated. There may be something that they're trying to work out. The stats you gave about the shots are not shocking. Greenville is a team that invites you in and then plays quick on the counter. They don't do a slow build up. They don't try to press in the offensive end very often. A player that I think we should watch is a player named Venton Evans, Jamaican-born outside midfielder, scored the goal for them against North Carolina FC in their 1-1 draw. And he's a pretty dangerous player. Whichever side he's on is going to be a handful for Aaron Lombardi and DJ Benton and the whole back line. They're going to have to, as Rafa said when we talked to him, you cannot switch off against Greenville because they will make you pay. And those players that have made you pay. Now, maybe you make an argument that this is kind of their 4th year. They've had a lot of guys that have stuck around in Greenville. Maybe they're a little past their prime and should have been sorting to some younger players. But It's always tough, and they're always good, and they're tough to break down. I think goals are going to be at a premium. You're right. These games are always exciting, but they're also low scoring. They're 1-nothings, they're 1-1, and things like that. So it'll be interesting to see what we do on Friday as we attack the game. What are you expecting to see from the Red Wolves as they come off a very disappointing game at home that they really felt like they should have won?
Well, I think we're going to see the continuation of constant attack, and I hope we could keep that up. But I don't think we're going to revert back to sitting back in the first half and turning on the juice in the second. I think I think Coach has it in his head that he wants to try to get as many of the goals in the first half. And if we get 1 to 2 goals in the first half, I like our chances. As you say, it's usually a low scoring affair. But if you get, you know, if you get them off their game early enough, you might be able to take advantage of it. But I also remember last year they struggled at the beginning of the season, not as much as they are now, but they end up jumping ahead of us by the time that the season was over. So there was I think about halfway through the season, we weren't sure, we thought that Greenville would still be in the playoffs, but they really made a run for it. So they're a team that will bounce back. I
Bringing
just
it full
hope.
circle, if we hadn't had a goal inexplicably wiped off the board against Madison, that would have been a win that would have put us ahead of Greenville on points. So yet again, this is part of why these calls that the refs are making, they're not just in a bubble and they're not meaningless. A
Yeah.
game where we could have gone ahead 3-2, and who knows how that finishes, could cost us in the standings. And it's on a dubious call. Go ahead.
Well, the other thing I was excited, I was watching some clips and seeing some familiar faces as they were doing some stuff on social media of those out in practice. I got to see Tanky out there and and Daniel Navarro. His face was. I'm not sure how much he was working. I really doubt Daniel will be ready, but I
Yeah.
wonder if Tanky is going to be ready. I did not see Ray, so I know that I'm not sure how to interpret what Rafa was saying. I mean, if we had Ray in the last game, if you had Ray and or Tanky to come in at that last game, we would have gotten a third goal and gotten at least a draw.
So
Um,
I have seen other pictures, not necessarily clips, that Ray Ortiz is back in training. I think he's been out the last couple games. I would not expect him to necessarily start, but you
oh
could
no,
see him be a player that comes off the bench. And much like he did in North Carolina, he's definitely going to be an impact sub. You've talked about El Tanque or Juan Galindrez. If he is able to give them even 20, 30 minutes, do you possibly start David Teixeira in place of Brian Beeman, let him play for, 45, 60 minutes, and then have Juan Galindrez come in at halftime? And to me, that improves the chances of the attack, gives us a target guy up front. Or if you're talking about wanting to get goals early, if you start David Teixeira, you see where it is. If you're still needing someone to attack, you can go with Galindrez, or you can bring Brian Beeman, and his hold up play and his
yeah.
ability to battle against tired center backs could be decisive in that second half if you're protecting a lead. We'll have to see. Coach Obleda is not one that experiments a ton. I don't think he likes to switch guys around a lot because he wants them to have a rhythm and a feel when they're going into those games. So it wouldn't shock me if we see the same lineup that we saw start against Tucson. But seeing some of these options off the bench, guys like Andres Hernandez have been around a few weeks now, have gotten into games. Does he maybe start to slide into that role for Josue Cartagena, who's done a pretty good job, but is a young player, one they're looking to develop more than necessarily be a regular starter? It'll be interesting to see how they make those decisions on Friday.
I want to come back to Tanky because honestly, if he can only come in for 10 minutes, he's going to make a difference and change. Because if nothing
Mhm.
else, Alex, he is a known quantity and is, I would say, to a level certainly respected, if not feared, in the league. So just having him on the pitch will force the other team to adjust. And so that's something that him coming off, I love that idea if he's ready. If not, then I like the idea of bringing Brian in um, around the 70th, 65th minute. I think Brian has a lot of skills, but I want to see how Tashira does for starting for us, especially with Rafa and Mo at the level they are at right now.
Mhm.
And if you've got Tashira up there, I think the chances that Rafa and Mo are making, I have a feeling Tashira is going to take advantage of that a little bit more.
I
And
think
that
so.
and then if you've got Brian in later in the game, and he's 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 a he's a striker who likes to create as well. So when things are petering out and where things are tired out, he can find a way to get into that box. So
Yeah, and I mean, Juan Galindres is the main ingredient in that cardiac Red Wolves, and so towards the end of a game, him coming on, Rafa, Mo, Ray still creating chances. He's a guy that's going to get on the end of that. He's got that nose for it for the late winner and the dramatic and the salsa dance in the corner. So hopefully we'll get to see that happen sooner than later. Um, I guess really the final thing to talk about it, Jeff. What do you see as the outcome of this game? What do you think is going to happen?
I am going to go for a 1-2 Red Wolves win, and I think it's going to be a 1-goal spread. But I don't see this being a lot of goals. But I think at least one of those goals are going to be up for goal of the week. That seems to be our method. I think we're going to get one in the first half. I think Greenville's going to come back, and then we're gonna come back to our cardiac Wolves ways, especially if Tanky's back in.
I agree. It's both teams are playing for a lot of pride. Greenville wants to defend their home turf. They've had two losses at home so far. The Red Wolves have a bad taste in their mouth, a game that they really felt like they were in control of and should have won, and they came away with a loss. They have trouble. We have never in Red Wolves history won a game in Greenville.
Mm.
So I think this Friday could be the night. We're going to be at CHI Memorial. Come say hey to the Brisket boys. Come watch the game in a place where there's enough people that you don't have to listen to Ross Davenport blame the Red Wolves for everything, including the war in Ukraine. And during the commentary, you're gonna have a lot of fun with folks. They're gonna have beer. They're gonna have snacks. It's gonna be a huge crowd. Everyone's gonna be keyed up on Friday. So come check out the game. CHI Memorial, the Executive Club. There's no cost to enter. There is a cost for food and beverage. And the conversation with the Brisket boys will cost you one crisp dollar bill
Or nachos.
or nachos. Um, we're already kind of past time because we had all our fun technical difficulties. Let's finish with a quick Biggleswade report.
All right.
All of our Biggleswade teams played their final games of the season. Biggleswade Town, unfortunately, finishing the season 20th out of 21, which means that they are going to be relegated from the Southern Premier League to Southern League Division One. We are sad to hear that. We never want to hear that our teams are having to make the drop. But it does increase our chances, Jeff, of a Biggleswade derby. So get your passport ready. We may have to be heading to Biggleswade sometime next season, as the Biggleswade Derby is on between Biggleswade FC and Biggleswade Town.
I forgot
If
the
you're
music.
interested in donating to send the Brisket Boys to Biggleswade, we'll share some details later on how to do that. Biggleswade FC, two consecutive wins at the end of the season. They have their strongest finish in team history, ending up in ninth. 18 wins, 6 draws, 14 losses. Congrats to Dave Northfield, the manager for Biggleswade FC, and happy birthday to him. Had a birthday this week.
Happy birthday!
Finally, Biggleswade United ladies
Mm-hmm.
lost their County Cup final, but an
Mm.
excellent run by the Biggleswade Reds in that. And the men's team found a way to get themselves to safety. They did not get relegated through the season. They have applied for a transfer back to their Spartan South Midland League a league that is much more geographically located in the Biggleswade area, a lot more local rivalries, easier travel for the whole club. So our fingers are crossed. We're hoping that they get a chance to move back to that league that's kind of a natural home for them next season. That is your Biggleswade report.
Wow. All right, go Biggleswade. Yeah, I do think being in an area where there's less travel is going to help everyone. A lot of clubs kind of had a tough time during COVID, but these non-league sides, in particular, a lot of them aren't paid. So I think it's going to be much better for them. So I hope they get into the Southern Spartan Midlands League.
All right. Well, my final point this week, tomorrow is my son's birthday, and this coming Tuesday is my wife's birthday. And
Wow.
I would like to make a quick shout out to both of them. Without them and their support, it would be very difficult for me to do this show. So I just want to put that out there, how much I appreciate them. They both make me proud. They're both rabid Red Wolves fans, maybe even more than me, if that can be possible. And so I appreciate you guys. Happy birthday to both of you.
Happy birthday.
Bye.
Bye. Did you forget to get him a gift?
Uh-oh.